Hi everyone, today we're going to be making a Pom Pom Garland. So this is kind of what the finished product looks like. And next I'll kind of go over all the different items that you'll need for the Pom Pom Garland. So basically the items that you'll need, it's only a few. Some yarn. So I got this spool from the Dollar Tree, very affordable. They have all kinds of colors and it doesn't have to be any specific size. I only used a very small amount of this one. You'll need a glue gun, a fork, some scissors, and I did lay out some tissue paper on the table here because it does shed a lot of fuzz when you're making the pom-poms. So I do recommend laying something out so that you don't end up with fuzz all over the place. You'll get it in your eyes, you'll get it all over your hands. Definitely wash your hands afterwards because then you'll feel like you have fuzz all over your face. I know that from experience, so just thought I'd let you know. Okay, so what we'll do next is we'll take our fork and then we'll take our yarn, and now that we've unspooled it, we're gonna go ahead and thread it onto our fork. So a few things to note when you're threading. Usually I would count out about how many I did. So like one full would be 1, and then 2, 3, kind of moving on like that. I would kind of note the amount that I did so that I knew about how much I would do to make a certain size. So with my pom-pom, I changed it between the garland. I did small, large, small, large. So I did about 75 to do the small one and then about 100 to do the bigger one. So that way, if you want all the same size, then you'll do about the same. If you're kind of eyeing it, you probably won't get about the same size. So just something to note when you're threading it on the fork. So to start off at the beginning, we're gonna be here. You're gonna hold it and you'll leave a little bit of space at the bottom of the fork because that is where you'll thread another one to kind of tie off your pom-pom. So then you'll just start threading it evenly. So you're gonna do from the bottom to the top, but you wanna make sure, so I'm not counting at the moment, but I'm just kind of showing you that technique. So you'll kind of make it about the same size evenly throughout. It does get a little bit tricky if you're not doing it about the same. So like if I were to spool more here and then do less here, then the pom-pom doesn't come out even. And then it's a little bit more challenging to cut once you already have the pom-pom formed, because when it's shorter on one side and not on the other, then it just kind of falls apart. So then you'll have to start the process all over again. So I'll kind of show you what the pom-pom threading looks like. Okay, so now that we have it threaded, you'll end up with 2 on the same side. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut a piece of string. So then you'll cut this one off. So now they're both kind of falling on this side so that I can just tie them and cut them at the end. You'll get a little piece of string, you'll cut it, and then you'll thread it through the bottom hole. So from here, so that's kind of what it looks like. You're gonna thread it through the bottom here, like right in the middle, so that way it's centered. You'll pull it out and across. And then from there, you're gonna tie it up. So now that I've pulled it across, so you're gonna do it horizontally over the yarn. And you're gonna tie it pretty tight. So, because if you don't, then the yarn ends up really loose. And then that's also really hard to cut. So we just do a knot. Sometimes I do a double knot because it'll make it a little bit more snug. So I'll do one more. And nice and snug. All right, so now we have the ends that we tied earlier. So we have the knot in the middle. We're gonna hold that one up and across so we can cut this one off here so that we know that that's the one that we don't need anymore. And we'll also cut a little bit more at the top. That way you still kind of know where it is. You don't cut it by accident. And then now we'll just kind of pull it off. So you kind of end up with something that looks a little bit like this. And basically you're gonna hold it really tightly and you're gonna cut all the way across. So now you'll just sneak your scissors under the hole and you'll cut across here. Sometimes it does take a little extra wrist action to cut across. And you'll make sure to hold it tight because if not, that one that you tied across becomes loose and then the whole thing gets loose and you'll lose the one that you just made. So then I'll keep cutting across through the middle and you'll kind of see my pom-pom is starting to see the bottom edges. And it's okay if you miss a few because you'll likely be able to see where it was that you missed them, and then you'll just sneak your scissors back in and cut across. So that kind of is what my pom-pom looks like at the moment. It's not gonna stay like that. So you'll fluff it out a little bit. So that's kind of what it looks like at the moment. And then you'll start to trim it and maybe check and see if you missed any spots or if there's any of like the little loops. So I think I have one little loop like right there. So I'll just sneak the scissors in, cut across, and then now you'll cut where you had the end of the pom-pom string here. And then you can kind of trim across. And if you do that, it'll kind of make it a little bit rounder and they'll all be a little bit more even because they don't quite come out evenly. So then you'll just start trimming it. And then you'll fluff it up a little bit. So that's kind of what a finished pom-pom looks like. And then so now all that's left that we've done our pom-poms, we made our pom-pom, we have our garland. It's basically just the same yarn that you have. You're gonna take the glue gun, you'll glue some of it at the top and then just right here. So I'll heat that up and I'll kind of show you what it looks like. Okay, so we got our hot glue gun heated up. So now what we'll do is we'll kind of just set it. I usually set it onto where I can see where the string tied it together. That way I know that one is not gonna move. I do a little squirt or so on the top and I leave the pom-pom there. I measure about the same distance as the last one. I just kind of eye it. If you really want to get technical, you could probably get like a ruler and maybe mark it with like a marker so you can kind of tell, but I usually just eye it and then I just press it down. So here, I just kind of pressed the yarn into it and I'm just letting it dry. And then that way, I don't mess with the pom-pom too much and I don't adjust the form because like I said, that string that's in the middle, if it starts to shift, the whole pom-pom becomes undone. So you don't want to mess with that one and then have to do it all over again because then there's fuzz everywhere. I already have fuzz flying about. So just kind of something to note. But anyway, so this is what a finished pom-pom looks like. So here's our garland and you can hang it up. You can do different stuff with it. Something different if you want to just make the pom-poms by themselves. I've seen it's like you have a vase, you get some twigs, you spray paint the twigs white, and then you glue all of the pom-poms onto it and then throw it in the vase. So something else to kind of work with the pom-poms. I feel like you could do it on anything. I've seen people put it on the outside of frames, glue the pom-poms to the outside of the frame. So it's kind of a variety of stuff that you can do with it. But I appreciate you watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for joining me.